Howdy folks, I'm Magnificent Megalodon, miraculously moving massive mysterious moose.
I'm Amber.
And here are more massive mysterious moose for us to move. I've got the power to move for you. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for the Amount of Syrup I Use in Front of My Niece? I'm a 25-year-old male, and my sister is a 37-year-old, and my brother-in-law is a 39-year-old, and my niece is 9. They are staying at my apartment right now since their house was flooded. I tried to be a good example for my niece. No alcohol or smoking, having fruits every day, and vegetables nearly as often. What my sister doesn't like is the amount of vanilla-flavored syrup I put in my latte. I use half a tablespoon of the stuff per cup and drink 1 cup each morning. My sister, who's a doctor, said that I am setting a bad example for this. She only uses half a teaspoon of syrup and said that I should do the same if I care about my niece and want her to have healthy habits when she's older. All right, folks, what do you think?
Absolutely not the jerk. First of all, this is your house. So if you wanted to just drink the syrup from the bottle, like, you would be within your right to do that. Now, I don't recommend that. That would not be a
Gross.
good idea. It would not be good for your health. But, you know, like, she doesn't have control over you in your own home. Secondly, I doubt her kid is paying that much attention to how much syrup you're putting in your coffee. Like, kids generally aren't allowed to have coffee anyway, so it's one of those adult beverages that, like, doesn't matter at this point in time. It's not like she's going to be drinking coffee anytime soon.
Yeah, unless she's like, can I have it in my milk or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's always good for adults to set good examples for children. And, you know, it sounds like OP is doing a pretty good job at that, right? I mean, having what do they say, half a tablespoon?
Yeah.
Is not a whole lot, right? And that's, you know, a tablespoon is like 3 teaspoons anyways. So, I don't know. I just think like half a teaspoon and half a tablespoon aren't even like that super far apart in the amount of sugar content. But like, I don't know, like, it's such a strange thing, such a strange hill to die on, right?
Well, it is. And another thing, this is what I was going to say and I forgot. Another important thing is that, like, children are going to be exposed to other people.
Yep.
And so, again, I don't think OP is being super unhealthy here or setting a bad example. But even if OP was, it's important for kids to be exposed to other people engaging in different, you know, eating habit styles so that they can develop their own habits.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I was going to go with my comment as well. I mean, I just think that it's important for kids to be able to self-moderate and be able to understand when something is too excessive. And you're not going to give the kid the skills to decide how to do that or figure out how to do that healthily if you're not allowing them to have some level of self-moderation, right? Like, once you're out of the picture, once the parents are out of the picture, they have to figure out how to do it on their own. And if they haven't figured out how to do it on their own, then it's going to be a really hard time, you know?
Yeah.
And they might not even figure out how to do it on their own anyways. And, you know, when they get out of home, they might binge on junk food. Right?
Yeah, well, and what my big concern is here is, like, to what extremes is the sister going with how she's regulating her kid? Because she has way more control over her kid than she does over OP, and she's trying to control how much OP is putting in their coffee.
Yeah. So I think that this is probably not necessarily healthy. I'm afraid that this is going to end up causing the kid to have an eating disorder. And, you know, that's not a very good situation. And hopefully it doesn't drive her to that point.
Yeah, well, you have to be very careful with how you frame food with kids. And, you know, no food is bad or good. You know, there are foods that your body needs, and there are foods that you want to eat less of. But you have to, you don't want to make it into, oh, you had, you know, this much whipped cream, you know, that's horrible. It's going to mess you up for life.
Well, not to mention kids, they have higher metabolisms. And so they're less likely to develop these kinds of problems anyways that you would as an adult anyhow, right? Because you know, kids can survive on more sugar than an adult, right? And that's just largely due to their high metabolisms. But yeah, I just think that this is not OP's problem. OP is doing a fine job, and the sister is being pretty entitled to make these requests inside of OP's home. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And maybe, maybe not, 2023 says, not the jerk, not her business, and your sister is being weirdly controlling around people's food, and it will give her an unhealthy relationship with it, courtesy of the mother's modeling. And Vegas by way of LA says, I think OP should add a mountain of whipped cream on top as well, just because it's fun. And Environmental Art 591 says, I would hate to hear what OP's sister thinks of my 3, almost 4-year-old daughter, which she does with canned whipped cream. Straight into her mouth, she points the can and says, please, and opens up her mouth and then struggles not to laugh until she swallows. She doesn't do it every day, of course, but if you use the whipped cream, she needs some. OP asked her sister if she will be satisfied once her daughter has an eating disorder caused by her monitoring of everything that she eats, or her daughter has no friends because her daughter monitors what everyone else eats and people don't like that. And Dog Groundbreaking 565 says, my kids also have a whipped cream tax. Everyone gets a spray. And Pop-Tart Sweet says, my dog does too, haha. And Sir Loki Cutie Pie says, my dog gets a cheese tax. There's always a food tax, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Always a food tax. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Refusing to Bake Cakes for Some of My Husband's Family? This is petty, but please try to understand my point of view before judgment. I'm a beginner home baker. By beginner, I mean that when a recipe claims that the cake will be done in an hour, it takes me closer to 3 hours to make. I'm very much still learning, but I enjoy it. Baking is a hobby that, when done a lot, has a downside. Many unclaimed baked goods that might go to waste. I hate waste, so I give them away for free. I don't even ask for ingredient money because I bake for the act of baking, so I don't feel that it's fair to ask for money. The only fee I charge is compliments. Every time I give willing volunteers a cake, I tell them that the fee is a complimentary review of the cake. I am my greatest critic, so I know what I did wrong / not well enough. I don't need people telling me that. I need some encouragement because I've been told my own opinion of my baked goods is unfairly harsh. I aim for perfection. Some members of my husband's family refuse to do it. I gave my sister-in-law a cake she specifically asked for, free of charge, for the low price of messaging me about the quality of the cake. I even used my own handmade jam for it. She never sent the message, even after being reminded. Well, next time I saw her, a week or so later, I asked her about the cake and she said, oh, it was a long time ago. I don't even remember how it tasted. I was livid, but I don't show it, though my husband heard all about it in the car. Edit, this was supposed to be a tongue-in-cheek. I was annoyed and ranted about 5 minutes during a debrief on the drive home. Well, next time she asked me to bake a cake for her birthday, I declined, and she was super taken aback. She asked me why, which is fair because I'm trying to perfect specifically birthday cakes now. And I told her that she didn't pay for the cake the last time. She claimed that I didn't ask for money, or she would have. I told her that I only asked for compliments, and so far she has remained silent on the cake that she got. She sighed and condescendingly said, your cakes are always wonderful. Do you really need to hear it every single time? Yes, it's literally the only thing that I asked for hours of work and spending my money on ingredients. I told her that she can call me petty. I did stand my ground on not making a cake for her. Birthday cakes are so time-consuming for me. I make them with love, and I spend so much time decorating. She literally offered to pay me market value price for it because she, quote-unquote, can't be bothered with this childishness. I still refused because it wasn't about the money. I told her to buy a cake, and she called me a jerk. I know this is petty, but I do need encouragement. I often see only the flaws in my work. Am I asking too much? Oh, and some additional information. Most of both of our families love my cakes, so they ask for them a lot. I'm happy about it, as it gives me a reason to practice, but she is not the only member of my husband's family who I have had to remind to give me reviews on my cake. She is just the only one who refuses to do it every single time, even after being reminded. So am I the jerk? Folks, OP has a lot of edits here, but I'm just going to go with this exchange on a thread that basically details what happens with OP when they ask. Everybody and their neighbor wants to give me advice, but compliments, no one gives them except like this. Aunt, it's good. Me, okay, but what is good? I tried it, and I thought that it was a little too soggy at the bottom. The top is a little dry, though. Next time, I have to put this type of cake on a different level in the oven. I thought about playing with steaming it for better results. And Aunt says, I think it was fine. And me, what is? Do you think that the cream saved it? Do you like the crunchy top and soggy bottom? Aunt, well, yeah, I like a bit of crunch and the cream makes it come together. Why is nobody specific unless I ask? Just tell me I like the cream. That's all I want. All right, folks. So what do you think after hearing an exchange here?
Yeah, OP, like you are within your right not to make cakes for people if you don't want to, but I really think you should work on your and rethink your approach because like it's one thing to want people to be like, I liked your cake. It's another thing to expect someone to go into gory detail about what specifically they liked about your cake. Like I'm the kind of person who like I have a very hard time like necessarily knowing exactly what I like or don't like some of the time. And I think most of us, like, if we like a cake, it's just the blend of the cake. It's not necessarily like we're thinking about the individual pieces or ingredients when we're eating it. It's just like, oh yeah, this cake tastes good. I understand wanting compliments, but also if you're forcing people to give you compliments, it's not even sincere. It feels exhausting.
That's the problem I have here is that if OP is asking for this level, it's not just like, oh, the cake is good. It has to be specifically what's good about the cake, right? And I think that's a lot. And I understand that OP is entitled to ask for whatever kind of payment they want with the cake. But I think at a certain point, people would rather just pay for the cake. And I think that's what shows with the sister-in-law, right? Is that she would rather pay for the cake than have to go through the rigmarole of explaining what they like about the cake and what they dislike about the cake. Because it sounds like a big pain in the butt, right?
Well, and only what they like about it. They can't comment on what they dislike
Oh,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So it's like puts you in this really weird position because OP is like, you know, in that exchange is talking about what they don't like, but you can only give compliments. So you can't say that you didn't like some of it.
Yeah, so it makes it a little difficult for people, I think, in this respect. I think that OP is asking a little much here. It would be understandable if this was like a bunch of, cake friends who were into baking and trying to like improve their craft and being like, hey, can you give me some feedback, constructive criticism on this, right? But it's just a lot for people who aren't into that kind of circle. I mean, when I cook foods, I think about certain things, right? But I'm not asking people what they think about my foods in that deep of a level, right? I mean, I can analyze and understand what's wrong with it. And if OP can too, then they know what to do better next time, right? So why do they need other people to tell them, what they liked about the cake if, OP already knows what it is? They just need to hear, oh, thank you so much for the cake. It was really great. I really loved the cake, right? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Objecting More to My Grandfather Having Shortcake? I'm a 21-year-old and my grandfather is 77, and he gave me a credit card in the use of which I have a very fixed pattern. Each Saturday, I have lunch at the mall. I switch the restaurants almost every week, but I always have my Saturday coffee at the same place. It's a Japanese bakery. To be more precise, a patisserie. Eventually, my grandfather got curious about me making the same amount of payment at the same shop every week. He became even more curious after finding out what I drink there, since I used to hate coffee. Asked me to take him there so that he could know if it's really that good. He said that it's pretty good and decided to order the strawberry shortcake. Now, his doctor had warned him that his blood sugar level was high, and I reminded him of this, but he reminded me that he's made changes to his diet and that he's been jogging. He also said an occasional cheat day won't hurt, so I didn't say anything further. Later, I went home where my grandmother saw the receipt, told him, and then called me to tell me off. She said that I should have tried harder to discourage him, knowing how important his health is for elderly people like them. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. He's an adult. He can make his own decisions.
Also, he's 77, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not like on his deathbed or anything like that, but I mean, that's like, he is, in the age where he probably wants to enjoy his life more than, not, right? And certainly, like, it is important that she's looking out for him. But, he's also an adult and he can make his own decisions. So she shouldn't be, like, scolding OP about this, right?
Well, that's it. Like, you can't blame other people for not, like, OP's not his mom. And sometimes people act like when someone gets older that they need to be parented. But, like, it sounds like he's of sound mind. There's nothing to indicate that he's not capable of making his own decisions. And just because the decisions he makes are different than the ones you want him to make doesn't mean that you have the right to control him.
Yeah, exactly. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What's a ghost's favorite type of footwear?
They like fancy footwear because they don't have socks or shoes.
Boots.
Oh,
And it's Wear Something Gaudy Day.
so go find something gaudy and wear it, I guess. Like a giant golden crested crown. I don't know. Make yourself something gaudy. And I have Mega Mint. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, fantastic Friday, folks. I hope your Friday is off to a fantastic start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it completely food related.
While it's good to look out for the people you love, pay less attention to other people's what other people are putting on their plate, and focus more on what you control, namely your own foods.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.